Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Oh, gotta help you boys out. What'd you do without me? Alright, let's help you kids out. This is gonna help out you boys and girls too if you ever decide to start buying your own cars. Randy writes, "Hey Captain Asshole, I'm a 25-year-old male currently working as a sales guy for a place. I almost completed Bachelor Pad Economics and have already recommended it to a bunch of my 25-year-old friends." Yeah, well, fuck the 24-year-olds and 26-year-olds. Yeah, well, why would we want to recommend it to everyone? In that, I read your chapter on cars and had some questions I was hoping you can answer. I'm currently driving a shit 2006 Mazda that me and my little brother have shared for the past 6 years. At 190,000 miles, has gotten the shit beat out of it, and I doubt it will last me more than a year. I'm looking to buy a used car, never a new one, obviously, and I'm looking for advice. I've got about $2,000 saved up. I'm trying to save up another $3,000 to cover a down payment and some other expense. Why do you have so little saved up? When I was 25, I had my own house. And for over a year. I was living in the basement and making money off of renters. Why do you have so little? The problem you are facing is your budget. If you didn't have personal financial problem, I'm telling you, you're spending more than you're making right now. You have a real job. All right, and you should be minimalizing your expenses. That you should have more than $2,000 saved up. Trying to save up another $3,000 to cover a down payment and some other expenses. I know I could buy a good vehicle for $2,000 to $4,000 down, but I'm looking for a newer model so I could possibly drive for Lyft or Uber as a side gig. Smart move. There you go. Uber requires the car you drive be less than 10 years old, so I'm in the market for a 2011-2013 range. Not looking for anything sexy. A good, reliable car that gets pretty good gas will do fine. Here are my questions. How do you evaluate a used car to determine whether the price is fair? Run a VIN code history, check out under the hood. I'm not a mechanic, so I was hoping for a quick list of basic things I should check out. You take the time. This is why you got to control your money. You get the car. You drive it to a mechanic you trust, and you have him or her look it over. That is the best way to do it. All right? Go over and say, "Hey, do you mind if I take this to a mechanic?" Now, you can run a Carfax, same thing. You could certainly do that. But I would take it to a mechanic and have them look it over. It's worth the $100 or $200 and your time to do it because it might save you a ton of stuff down the road. Also, the mechanic will come up with a list of things that need to be fixed on it or about to go. And then you could go to the guy who's selling the car saying, "I would like these things fixed." It gives you something to bargain with. And if they don't, and then it also will tell you, okay, here's what the car's really going to cost you. Because, yeah, here's the price, but then here's all the other shit that's wrong with it, and associated with it, all the fixing prices that are going to come with it. So now you start nailing down numbers of things you're likely going to have to incur with this car for its expense. So that is what I would do, is go and take it to a mechanic. All right, that's the first thing. 2, hope I can make sure the guy at the dealership doesn't try and bend me. How do I make sure the guy at the dealership doesn't bend me over a barrel? Any good negotiating tips would be great. Yeah, don't go to a dealership. All right? There's nothing wrong with dealerships. It's just that they have every incentive to make money off of you. All right? So what I would recommend you do is this. It's in the book. Look for salvage vehicles. Now, you got to double check, make sure, can you get a salvage title and drive Uber? That might be an issue. If not, but I would go, now I've bought cars from dealers and private parties, but I would not just be going to the dealership. Go on Autotrader.com, go to Carsoup.com, and start looking for cars. And you could sort them by low mileage, year, whatever else, so you could get like some really good, and cheap, and price. And you may have to drive a ways to get one, but that's what I would do. So don't relegate yourself to the dealership. Find any car anywhere that's got low miles and is affordable. All right? This would be more general, but why are car prices so high? Everything used from 2012 looks like 8 to 12 grand, at least for a vehicle with moderate mileage. Yeah. Why are they so high? Because they start even higher. I think the average price of a car is $33,000 new. So 8 grand is actually quite cheap. Now the old Captain, so you gotta listen to me, boys. The last, my truck I got for $4,500, and that had, I think, only 60,000 miles on it. Now, I had to drive to bumfuck Minnesota to get it, but I was willing to, and it had a fuel injector problem, but my mechanic, who I have a good mechanic, he fixed that, right? So you gotta be willing to drive and go fight. You just gotta be you just refuse to pay $8,000. The cars are out there where there are lowish miles, right? And low miles is, heck, a car that's got 80,000, that's still considered low miles. You still got, as you know, 100,000 left on those, especially if you maintain them and keep them in shape. So you just gotta spend the time. Okay, stop spending time at the nightclubs and the bar because you only got $2,000 in your account. I don't know what the fuck you're doing with your time. Stop doing that. Get a part-time job, build up more money, and then with your remainder of time, go online, spend hours if necessary, to find a cheap car somewhere. You could set a 500-mile radius. Do that. Right? And because your time is going to be much better spent. You're going to be looking at it as what you're paid per hour. You say, oh, well, there's an $8,000 car next door. But if you spend 4 hours searching the internet and you find a $4,000 car, that's the exact same car with much lower miles, you just got paid $1,000 an hour. So please take your time to go and research and find a car that is cheap, affordable, and meets the Uber requirements. Right? That's what you get, and this is what you do starting now. Once you're done with your job, you get home, you and your brother, just you're going to go online and you're going to start looking for cars. So why are prices high? They're really not that high, to be honest with you, because I've seen it. But I found cars. Heck, I got a car for $500, put over 80,000 miles on it. Couldn't drive Uber. I've had very good luck with salvage cars. Two of my cars in the past have been salvage cars, gone for under $3,000, and one had like 35,000 miles on it. Of course, salvage vehicles may not be allowed on Uber, but you can find it. You just got to go and be a bargain hunter. That's all, and you got to be willing to drive out there and go get that damn thing. Should I hold off on buying a car? I've seen multiple articles on Zero Hedge stating that due to inventory glut and expiring leases, there should be an oversupply of used vehicles in the market by the end of this year, next year. Do you think this is truly a possibility? And provides, yeah, absolutely. If you can hold off, go ahead and do it. And I think it serves you and your brother's interest to do that. What I would do is get a part-time job. You don't have the money to buy a car. You just don't. Okay, not a decent one anyway they could use for Uber. I would go work a second job, research, build up some cash, let time go, especially in wintertime. You know, people aren't going to be the better time to buy a car. Wait for this surplus glut. I read through a couple of the articles. It could happen, maybe not. But if all of a sudden you start finding cars in the $3,000 to $4,000 range and you could drive them for Uber, even if for a year or two and they got low miles, whatever happens to this glut of cars hitting the market is moot. Right? You found yourself a pretty good deal. Right? But it looks like, yes, down the road, prices are only going to get better for used cars. That doesn't mean if you find a deal today, you don't take advantage of it. But I think you got yourself a little bit of time, work a summer job, do something, build up the extra cash so that you're not borrowing money. I've never borrowed money for a car. No matter how poor I was never borrowing money for a car. The other thing with holding off of buying a new car is, I think I mentioned this at Bachelor Pad Economics, keep your Mazda. Right? What I would do is go into not the dealership, but go to a mechanic who deals with Mazdas, all right? And say, I want the scheduled maintenance to be done on this Mazda. And it'll do two things. One, the guy will say, oh shit, this thing's, just sell it, junk it, or keep it. Or say, okay, for $500-600 I can do these main things. Maybe use even $1,000. But it's going to renew that car for like another at least 25,000 to 30,000 miles. So maybe for $1,000 that might be worth it. The other thing that will do is you'll have the envious position of having two cars if you go and buy another one. The reason you want two cars is because of redundancy. This saved my ass a score of times. If you're dealing with crappy old cars, one of them is going to break down. And it's always good to have a grocery getter, another car, to back you up. Right? It saves on towing costs. A lot of these things could be roadside repairs. It just opens up a whole lot, and it's totally worth it. So you already own that Mazda. For $1,000, you can, the mechanic will tell you and say, okay, yeah, this is not worth fixing up. You'll find out very quickly. But all of a sudden, Japanese cars, they're built pretty well. You may be surprised. Says, oh yeah, this thing's good as new. Oh yeah, we had to change some struts or timing belt needed replacing. But for $1,000, you're going to get another 40,000 miles out of this vehicle. That's totally worth it. Then you have yourself a 2-car situation. Brother can go do whatever, you're driving Uber. So that is what I would do. So first thing, take that car into mechanic. Say, what's the scheduled maintenance? We want, should we keep it or just get rid of it? Kind of thing. And then you're going to get a second job. And then you're going to start looking for used cars. Auto Trader or Car Soup or whatever. And you are going to go and then research, make sure you can get used title car or salvage title cars on Uber. If not, then okay, you're going to have to avoid salvage cars. But then over time, as you build up more and more money, ideally, I'd say by fall, you should have enough money to pay cash for a car that you can drive Uber, and you don't got no car loan. You got yourself another car that's somewhat reliable with the Mazda, and then you're making money on Uber, and there's no auto loan. Uber, I think, also has like an auto loan financing program. Look into that. But God almighty, just be a fucking man, get another job, and go buy a $5,000. You should be able to afford a $5,000 car. Certainly by winter. Certainly by winter. All right. Thanks for everything you do, Captain. Let me know what you think. Oh, by the way, got a motorcycle license. The first motorcycle last year, and you're completely right in saying every young man should have a bike. Game changer. Yeah, see, all right, now you kind of do have a grocery getter. That'll allow you to go get your broken down car, and it gives you options. So, all right, hope that helped out, kid. Best of luck to you. Toodles.